My next guest, the next dealer we're talking, is a close friend of mine and a client of the agency. Is Todd Caputo. Todd Caputo is the CEO of the Sun Auto Group in Syracuse, New York. He has multiple locations, very savvy digital retailer. And I thought it'd be good to hear from an East Coast dealer on his perspective on the situation and also some of the things he's doing within his organization and how he's navigating the situation that really is unprecedented. So Todd, thanks for giving some time. I know you're still running and gunning and trying to make things happen and take care of your business. Thanks for giving us some time today.
Hey, Paul. Nice to see you, my friend. What's going on?
Good to see you too. I like your signs. I know right where you're sitting.
You know exactly where I am.
Todd, why don't you just introduce yourself and talk about your group, and then just talk about how this has played out for you.
Yeah, so I'm Todd Caputo. I run Sun Auto Group. I own Sun Auto Group. We're in the Syracuse, New York market. I've got a Chevrolet dealership, and I have three fairly large independent used car dealerships here in this market. I've been in the car business since birth, really, right out of the birth canal. And then, I've been doing this really my whole life.
And so I'm not even going to ask you, I know that you've never seen a situation like this before. Can you tell us about when you started to really lean in and pay attention and realize that something was going on?
Yeah, I saw this coming it was 3 weeks ago. I was at an auction in Southern Auto Auction in East Windsor, Connecticut. I think it was 3 weeks ago today. And when I left the auction that day, I don't know, something just told me things weren't quite right. And this was really before the tsunami totally hit. And I tried to position my company and our people to basically go into a shutdown mode because I just kind of felt it coming. I think it was, I think it was the Holy Spirit telling me that. And I really did everything I could do to prepare for this tsunami, because that's the only word that I can describe this as, is just a tsunami. So we did whatever we could do to make sure we were ready.
And what's the status of your store right now? Like, so you're in New York. Can you talk a little bit about what New York's position is and then what you're actually doing?
Yeah, so we're deemed essential for service. So we can be open for service if we choose to. And we're also deemed essential for sales, but they're online and remotely only. So our showroom doors are locked. We are transacting online as far as people wanting to buy cars or turn in their leases, but that's about it. And I am not open for service at this point at any of my locations. We closed before the governor told us to, because I kind of knew it was coming. And I had somebody who worked in the company also was sick, and I was concerned about the health of my people, and I wanted to be prepared. So, unfortunately, we closed early, and I have not opened service back up. I've thought about it, but I don't really want a lot of people coming in and out of the dealerships right now. The public, my employees don't feel comfortable with it. Their family members, their wives and husbands, they don't feel comfortable with it either. And I can't do enough service business, honestly, at this point, in my opinion, based on what my competitors tell me they're doing to justify keeping service open. So we're selling cars only right now, and we're doing it online, truly.
Can you tell, like, one of the reasons that I'm going to ask this to all the dealers, and I've asked is because everybody approaches the situation a different way, because everybody's in a different situation, both mentally, philosophically, physically. And so I think it's really beneficial for everyone to hear how you're actually making your way through this. Two questions coming up. Number one, what is your perspective on when you think we're going to see the crest of this in upstate New York? So we're, again, East Coast, north of New York City by about 250 miles.
Well, we haven't seen, we're seeing some cases because there's more testing in this area. Mm-hmm. But we're not seeing it in Onondaga County, where two of my dealerships are. There's only been one death. You live in where I live, right? There's only been one death in Onondaga County. There's been very few deaths. In most of the counties around us, there's been, either no deaths or just a few. There are some cases. Listen, when I was at NADA, and you were there too, we all shook a lot of hands, but I had a bottle of sanitizer in my pocket that I constantly used, because that was when people were starting to talk about it just a little bit. I think a lot of us have already had it in some way, shape, or form. And I think that depending on who you are and how it affects you and what your health is and what your age is whether or not, you truly are going to get really sick or just a little bit sick. But what the worst part about this whole thing, from my understanding, again, as a car dealer, not as a doctor, obviously, is, it spreads. And if it spreads to the wrong person, somebody could get really sick or die. So, yeah, I don't know how much of a crest we're going to have here. We don't. You see the same news that I do. We're not really seeing it here, and unfortunately, we're being treated upstate like the rest of this, as New York City is being treated, and it's
Mhm.
been very difficult, just like it has in the rest of the country.
Yeah.
It's been very,
Let
very
me ask
difficult.
let me ask you, thank you for that insight. Let me ask you a more operational question. So, you were an early mover on digital retail and really made a massive change in your business about 18 months ago. Can you talk about the change that you made and kind of how that's positioned you for now and how you are operating now online?
So about a year and a half ago, we went one price and we converted. We went over to Roadster, completely to Roadster, meaning all my web traffic I pushed directly to Roadster. It wasn't a slide out, it wasn't a button, and we used Roadster in our showroom as well. We became 100% Roadster really about a year and a half ago. So this honestly really has been nothing new to us. Again, this is new in a sense because we can't have customers coming to the dealership. But as far as being able to transact and do business online, we've been doing it. So it hasn't been a radical change and shift or culture or anything for us, at all. It's just been it's going really, really well so far.
And so the kind of ecosystem, the way it's working right now, are leads still coming in?
Yeah, we're getting a lot of leads. As a matter of fact, we just, as a matter of fact, that I laid everybody off completely in the company a couple of weeks ago, and I'm bringing some people back on now. Just I call it a skeleton crew in variable ops. Just some of my most tech savvy people, some of
Mhm.
my people that have a lot of experience in business, especially in finance, and we're handling leads and we're selling cars, doing it the way that New York State wants us to. And it's going really well so far. And we're getting, what I'm finding is that before, when we were kind of a hybrid in the sense that we use Roadster quite a bit, but we still kind of sold cars the same way when people walked in the showroom, because customers, they didn't want to do it online. Now they don't have a choice and they're doing everything. We're appraising, all of our trades are being appraised online now with Roadster. And that's worked out extremely well. We're buying cars from consumers directly through Roadster. We did before, but it's definitely bigger right now. I can tell you that. And we're using Roadster completely from 100% start to finish.
Thanks for that. Two more questions. One, we got some questions coming in from the audience. I want to ask two things first. What are you doing? Are you currently what's your strategy and approach to how you're presenting your inventory, like pricing, inventory? Are you bringing cars in? Are you holding? Like what is a little bit insight in what you think?
No, so we're marketing our cars online like we always do. We have
Mhm.
photo booths at all of our dealership like we always have. You know exactly where they are and what they are because you work inside of them sometimes. What I did was I made sure that the cars that we had purchased prior to this catastrophe, I've had people come in and make sure that they're digitally frontline ready. So
Mhm.
we've had people come in and detail them, and people come in and make sure that they're photographed. So they're completely online, regardless of whether or not they've been mechanically reconditioned or not. My first thing that I wanted done was to make sure that everything was online because I knew that we were going to be doing business online you know, you know, online for a while, and I wanted to make sure I didn't have any stock photos. I didn't have any lot photos. Like I had 50 real pictures in a photo booth. So that was the first thing we did. And as far as pricing goes, I guess it depends on how you want to look at it. What you think is going to happen to the used car market, how aggressive you want to be with your current inventory. The difference between '08 and 2001 is that there's no liquidity right now.
Mhm.
Back then, the market dropped, but you could still cash a car.
Yep.
You can't cash a car right now unless you retail it because the wholesale market, unless they're cheap cars, it's gone. The auctions are essentially shut down. Other than ACV and Trade Rev, all the auctions are shut down. There's not
Mhm.
a lot of interest in anything other than cars that are, sub $3,000. That's all I'm seeing really any bids and activity on. A lot of
Yep.
eyeballs, but nobody's bidding. So the question of, what you think your inventory is going to be worth once we're turned back on here. But,
Mhm.
again, everybody else is in the same boat. I guess that's the big difference this time
Yep. Right.
versus, in the past.
In the last panel that we just had a digital retailing panel, and we kind of veered off into marketing and messaging at the risk of being a little self-serving, just because we're your agency of record. What kind of messages, like how are you approaching talking about your business right now?
Not really any different than not any different than the same messaging that we already really had prior. We're simple, upfront, and nice. That's how we do business, and I think people really appreciate that now more than anything else. People just want to be reassured that you're going to have their best interest in mind when you're going to sell them a car. And that's who we've always been. That's who we always will be. Again, we're just trying to let people know that we're here for them. And we really think right now, anybody buying a car right now is just strictly because of the fact they need a car, not because they want one, because they need one. That was our big fight with the state of New York was where they got it. They didn't, at first sales were not deemed essential.
Yep.
And the New York State auto dealers did one heck of a job convincing the governor's office that, there are people that need to buy cars right now.
Yep.
People could not buy a car a week ago in New York. Couldn't do it.
Let me get to as many questions as I can.
Sure.
We're going to ask question asked by Athena Clark. I'm going to ask yours because you put your name there. It was upvoted several times. How do you think the role of salesperson can evolve through this?
I think that, a couple other people already talked in your panel today about this, and I've been reading other articles about this online. We're not going to be shaking each other's hands for a long period of time, in my opinion, and we're not going to be standing really close to each other and giving each other hugs unless it's a family member. I think society is going to be changed by this forever. I truly do. I think that FaceTiming, Zoom, platforms where you can retail things online are going to become even more important than they already are, without a doubt. I mean,
Yep.
And if you're not a digitally savvy car dealer or really in any other business right now, you better be if you're going to survive. And this just kind of proves it. I mean, thank God we had the insight to do a lot of this a long time ago. But as far as for a salesperson goes, I think you really got to be good with tech. There's a lot of car guys or car gals out there that have been doing this for a long time that think it's the old way.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been convinced for the last few years that those days are gone. And I think that this actually just proves it.
I think you're right. Okay, last question. This is a little more of a personal question. So I know that I've heard you speak about several things you think that the positive things this is going to be for us as a society in the sense of a reset. Can you just give your dealership colleagues what do you think this is doing for us as a society?
Well, you and I kind of talked about this a few days ago when we were talking privately. I think that everybody, not just in this country, but in the entire world, are realizing that there's a lot more things out there that are important than just selling cars and making money and, stuff with our kids and literally running 1,000 miles an hour all day long, every single day, and then just crashing at night. I don't stop. It's who I am. It's what I am. I don't stop moving. I'm always trying to do better. And, I think everybody's looking at things differently right now. And I believe, I think this, my faith is really important to me, that I think that this is the good Lord saying, hey, everybody, wake up. I'm still here. You kicked me out of your schools and you kicked me out of this. And, I'm still here. And you might think you're smart with AI and you might think you're smart with your Alexas and this and that, but you need to be humbled. And honestly, I think we're being humbled in a way. I think we're going to be a better culture for it. I hope that this isn't forgotten like some other things in the past have been. But, I can tell you what, this one, I don't think anybody's going to forget. I mean, '08,
No.
I never forgot '08. I never forgot 9/11, that's for sure. But this one's definitely different. And there's going to be a lot of books and a lot of case studies done on this one.
Yeah. I mean, you have young kids and so do I. And I think this is going to be one of the things that changes their future because this happened. And we'll be able to look back.
The only other thing that I would say is, Paul, and a lot of your panelists talked about this as well today, is, it's really not just a reset it's a reset on your personal life, I think, and your spiritual life, but, on your business too. I mean, we're really looking at everything right now. We thought we were pretty good. We thought we were relatively efficient, but when you're working in circumstances like these, you realize what you can and can't do and how you can definitely be more efficient and what is a necessity and what's a luxury. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's true. Like when times are good, right? Everything gets fat when times are good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't matter to spend, a few thousand here, a few thousand there, because you're still very profitable. Business is good. The economy's firing all, so even though you're focusing on efficiency, it's still hard to really turn the screws on efficiency when things are good. And this is not only forcing us to be, more discerning with our dollars, but it does give us, and we talked about in the last panel, like you said, it's an unprecedented, and I think once in a lifetime opportunity to restart the things the way you know they should be. Because we all have, anyone that runs an industry understands that you have these kind of legacy systems, legacy situations, legacy personalities that maybe you see affecting your business in a bad way, but it's a lot of heartburn to start to make it turn. So you kind of ignore it and you keep rolling. And now is really an opportunity to put the right people in the right seats, the right bus outfitted the right way. And I personally don't think this opportunity will ever come again for anyone who's running a business. We have time for one more question. We're still waiting for our next guest to come in. So let's say,
Fire away.
all right. Will this challenge perhaps result in a customer-facing shared F&I and sales role? We now have 3 roles: BDC, sales, and F&I.
We only have one role in my organization that does that already, and the answer is yes. We eliminated our BDC quite a while ago. We didn't think we needed it anymore, and we sold more cars, and you know that because you've been obviously a partner of mine. So yeah, without a doubt, unfortunately, again, the people that are here working right now at my company are the ones that are the best of the best. They're part of my skeleton crew, and they're the ones that basically, they can do it all.
Very good. Well, we are out of time. I see a lot of comments coming up on LinkedIn, people really appreciating your transparency, authenticity, sharing your faith. So a lot of good, I think, just connection happening and people feeling encouraged. Todd, I'll see you soon. But thank you so much for spending some time here with the industry. Of course.
Thanks for putting this together, man. Thanks. This is great. I think this has been really helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll talk to you soon, my friend.
All right, man.